McLaren are making a mockery of Formula One. I genuinely think what's happening is really, really, really dangerous. I think it's really dangerous for Lando and Oscar Piastri. So let me explain it to you. Let me explain what happened. So just on a big watch along of the Monza F1 25 Grand Prix, and essentially Max Verstappen sensationally won the Grand Prix. I was thinking it could happen, which is why I wore the race shirt today. If they take the rear ring off, he's done it, he's won it. But with McLaren, basically the running order was Lando Norris was in P2 and Oscar Piastri was in P3. Okay? Lando Norris has the opportunity to choose to box first as the front-running McLaren. We get to the end of the Grand Prix. McLaren need to make their first pit stop because you've got to make a pit stop in GP. And it looks like they're both going to go on soft tyre in the soft tyre window that Liam Lawson ran earlier. Lando declines to box first. And previously in the race, he'd be saying, I want to do the opposite of whatever Oscar does. They therefore box Oscar first. So Oscar comes in, they box him, they put soft tyres on. It's a 1.9 second stop, which is insanely quick. And by the way, just to give some context, I was recently at McLaren, and I recently was the front left tyre gunner on a Formula 1 McLaren car. So I have a little bit of experience here, even though that sounds weird to say. It's a 1.9 second stop, and comes out, and is basically now in the process of undercutting Lando. Because when you go onto fresh tyres, you're driving out faster than the car who's still out there who's yet to pit on really old tyres. Now, they tell Oscar, no undercut, please. But it looks like the undercut's not going to happen because Lando was so far ahead. It all should be okay. Now, Lando boxes at the end of that lap. Comes in for the soft tyre. Something very, very, very weird happens. Very weird. So Oscar's stop was a 1.9 second, which is really quick. Lando, the front left gunman, which is the one that I was at, I'll try and put some footage here, for some reason, doesn't finish tightening the bolt. Now, I can tell you, holding that wheel gun, it's quite obvious when that bolt is not in, having looked at it in there and how the way that the wheel guns work. He needs to be told by the guy on his left, bro, what are you doing? That the nut's not actually in, and then he just finishes it and pulls it out. Meanwhile, Lando's sitting there looking at the gunman thinking, what are you doing? Okay, this is all off a further context where Lando had an engine failure or something resulting in engine failure at the previous race where he retired from the race and he's lost a lot of points to Oscar Piastri. Okay, that means with that 5.9 second stop, Lando comes out of the pits just behind Oscar Piastri. So Oscar Piastri has actually undercut it. Okay, now my opinion here is that this is just bad luck in the pit stop for Lando, and it can happen for anyone. Either it's bad luck or something very malicious is happening where the team would want to favour Oscar, which I don't think makes any sense, but that would be the only other explanation. So it's just bad luck, really. Okay? Because of this bad luck, I think that's just the way the cars are now, and I think the car should race to the end. Even though Oscar was said don't undercut, it's not his fault that Lando had a 5.9 second stop. That wasn't a guaranteed no undercut. It wasn't a legal thing. They didn't give Lando like an indemnity if it was breached by Oscar. But in the end, McLaren very quickly got on the radio and asked Oscar Piastri to slow down and give the position back to Lando. So now you have Max Verstappen P1, Lando P2, Oscar P3. Now we saw this at points last season, okay, where near the end of the season, McLaren chose Lando as their guy to put pressure on Max, thinking like the Brazil sprint race, stuff like that. We saw Oscar give positions back, and I was very vocal on YouTube, and I do some of the biggest watch-alongs on YouTube. We have like thousand people watching concurrently. I was like, I don't agree with this. I know it's a team sport, but I'm also a racing driver. Like, I race in championships, I win championships, I lose championships. I come second, I come third, I come first. As a racing driver, I just think it makes a mockery of it. I also think that as a viewer, and this isn't even my main point I'm getting onto, but as a viewer, if you're a casual viewer, when you see a standing list at the end of a race, you kind of expect, okay, this is how the race ended. Everyone tried their hardest. There would have been good luck and bad luck, and this is the order that's deserved. So when you have these swaps, it makes a mockery of that. Especially, can you imagine if Lando won this race at Monza? There'd be all the fireworks. There'd be, all of the big CGI projections of Lando around the circuit and everything. There'd be the champagne, the podium, the presentation, all because one guy at McLaren made a mistake on the pit stop. That doesn't seem right to me. But like I said, that's not even my main point. My main point, so leave an Apple emoji if you've made it this far in the video. My main point is this, okay? I feel like McLaren are really risking Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris being made to look like kids. Let me explain. Lando Norris is one of the most experienced drivers in Formula 1 history, okay? Like, look, when you look at race starts. And Oscar Piastri is also a multiple-time race winner. Like, he's won way more than other drivers that you might think. But they're still associated with being junior drivers. That's the perception they have, right? Lando, we don't look at him like one of the most experienced drivers. We look at him like a junior driver who's trying to win his first world championship. Okay? This is very different to, say, Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes. Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes felt like two adults in their prime, alpha predators, doing everything to compete against each other, whether it's taking all the paint off the helmet or like segregating the garages, ultimately benefiting the team through this competition. A bit like WWE did, or WWF did with like SmackDown and Raw. It's like this internal competition means the team benefits, but they were their own people. They were going to make decisions. They had more kind of equity in the team, okay? With Lando and Oscar, it feels like they are almost junior level employees that are told what to do. Sit here, stand here. And they're told what to do so McLaren can achieve its corporate objectives. Right? Because you look at them in the cool-down room after, and it felt like two kids sitting on a sofa, like, oh, that was interesting. What happened there? Okay, well, I was told to do this. Oh, okay, cool. They didn't have any agency. And the problem is now, for McLaren, because they pigeonholed them here, if one of them decides to stand up, or when Oscar does what he did in Silverstone, and he says, like, you know, that penalty was unlucky when he sped under the safety car, I should have the position back. They start being presented like caricatured as like spoiled children. They're spoiled children. They're asking for everything they don't understand. And I think this is the biggest danger for McLaren, because you think of drivers in the past like Rubens Barrichello, even Sergio Perez at the end of his time at Red Bull, they've been pigeonholed. Compare, as an example, Rubens Barrichello with Juan Pablo Montoya. What is your perception of both of those drivers? Very, very, very different. And if everything changes next year, as I think it will with the regulations, and Oscar and Lando don't win another championship, let's say one of them's going to win one championship. So if they're remembered as a one drivers champion, which is no bad thing, like Nico Rosberg is a one driver champion, etc. Fernando's only got two, Fernando Alonso. If they're remembered as a one championship title winning driver, I think they will be pigeonholed as they only achieved it because they were protected by McLaren. McLaren essentially just conspired to make it happen. And I think that's really, really, really dangerous. So I think that's the biggest dangerous thing about what's going on at the moment. But I want to hear your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe to this Formula Fan TV channel if you want to have your thoughts said to the drivers when they go to tracks. And I'll see you next time.